In this video, I'm going to show you how you can perform customer sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis can be performed on textual data. So for example, you can perform sentiment analysis on your product reviews, or let's say you conducted a survey that you sent out to your customers. And let's say that you are asking them about how they are feeling about your product or service. You can then analyze the results and see whether the sentiment is positive, negative, or neutral. Now you can do this manually, but this can easily result in error, or usually we are working with a lot of data. But then if you do it manually, it would take you a long time. And thus in this video, we are going to be using ChatGPT plugin called Noteable that lets you run Python directly inside ChatGPT. And if you are wondering, you don't have to have any coding experience here. We are simply going to analyze the data with our prompts that anyone can write. I do have a whole playlist about ChatGPT plugins that I'm going to link down below. I think the plugins are very useful for anyone. To a lot of time, there's a lot of automation that can happen behind the scenes, and you can become more efficient, faster, and more accurate if you know how to use them. If you are interested in tech and AI, definitely subscribe down below. I post every single week. All right, let's get started. You want to go to GPT-4, click on plugins, and then this drop-down menu appears. You want to click on it, and then you want to choose Noteable as your plugin. Noteable actually lets you run Python directly in ChatGPT using prompts. If you don't have it installed, you simply just go to plugin store, you want to go to all, and then you search for it through the pages. You might also find it in a section called popular. I have a full video about how you can get started and install and create profile on Noteable app. I'm gonna link it down below. But you want to go here and click on Noteable and activate this plugin in this chat. Now this is the dataset. We are going to be working with Disneyland reviews. So here, let's have a look at it quickly. We have review ID, then we have rating that ranges from 1 to 5 stars. Then we have year and month. We have the location. We have the review text that we are actually going to analyze the sentiment of. And then we have the branch. The first thing you have to do is to go to the Noteable app and you have to create a project. I go through this in my video that I have uploaded before, but simply what you want to do is to just create a project here, give it a name, choose the space, and then hit create. I already have a project created and it's called ChatGPT test. Here you can upload files. So we are going to click on the upload button, and here we are simply going to drag and drop the file. We can see that the file has been successfully uploaded. We are going to close this down, and here we are going to click on these 3 dots and we are going to click on copy the path. This is going to be important because we are going to refer to this in our prompt. The prompt looks like this. Use the dataset uploaded to the Noteable with the path. And here we are just going to paste the path that we have just copied from the app. Then I'm giving it a little bit more content here. The dataset contains reviews of Disneyland customers. And then I am writing a problem statement. I need to analyze this dataset. This should include getting a better understanding of the reviews visitors are leaving. After exploring the data, perform a sentiment analysis of the reviews. Visualize the results. We are going to send this. And it automatically is starting to use Noteable plugin. It knows it should use the Noteable plugin because this is the only plugin that is enabled in this current chat. All right, so we have the first results. I have created a new notebook for this task. You can follow along with the analysis here. You can click on the link and go directly to newly created notebook. Also, if you just go back to your project, you can see that less than a minute ago, a new notebook has been created for us. Now, let's start by uploading the Disneyland Reviews CSV dataset. All right, and we have a first obstacle here. I have created a cell to load the dataset, but it seems there was an unexpected error while launching the kernel or executing the cell. You can view the notebook cell here and learn more. It is automatically going to try it once again, and it finds another error. It seems like there is an Unicode decode error. This error typically occurs when the file is not the UTF-8 encoding. Let's try to load the data with ISO 8859, and it successfully solved this problem for us. We didn't have to do anything. Great, we have successfully loaded the dataset. Here are the first few rows. So here we get the first 5 rows of the dataset and how it looks like. It looks all right. And now let's perform some exploratory data analysis to understand the data better. Again, everything is automatic. I'm not doing anything. If we go back to the notebook, we can see that it used the head function, which for those who don't know, head just gives you the first 5 rows of the dataset, so you can have a look on how the dataset looks like. And now it's starting to perform the exploratory data analysis. All right, and we got the results. The dataset contains 42,656 rows and 6 columns. All columns are of object data type except for review ID and rating, which are of an integer. There are no missing values in the dataset, which is good. The distribution of ratings is as follows. We have around 23,000 5-star reviews. We have around 10,000 4-star reviews. Then we have around 5,000 3-star reviews. Then we have around 2,000 2-star reviews. And then around 1,500 1-star reviews. Now let's move on the sentiment analysis of the reviews. We will use the TextBlob library for this. TextBlob is a Python library for processing textual data. It provides a simple API for diving into common natural language processing (NLP) tasks, such as part-of-speech tagging, noun phrase extraction, sentiment analysis, classification, translation, and more. Alright, it seems like the text library is not installed in the current environment. Let's install it. The TextBlob library has been successfully installed. Now let's try to perform the sentiment analysis again. Alright, and then it stopped generating because the answer is getting too long. You can see that we have this huge table and a lot of text. So here what you can do is to simply just say, please continue. Also, if Noteable is going to have problems installing the library called TextBlob, you can actually manually install it using pip install and the name of the library directly inside your notebook. Alright, and we have successfully calculated the polarity of the reviews. The polarity is a float value within the range -1 and 1, where negative value indicates a negative sentiment, a positive value indicates a positive sentiment, and value close to 0 indicates a neutral sentiment. Here are the first few rows of the dataset with the added polarity column. We can see that the sentiment has been calculated in this column. So for example, this review is slightly positive because it's 0.2, and the closer to 1, the more positive it is. Now let's visualize the results. We will create a histogram of the polarity scores to see the overall sentiment distribution. Here is the histogram showing the distribution of sentiment polarity. We can see the distribution of our reviews. So here you can see that 0 is located here. We can clearly see here that most of the reviews are positive because they are located on the right from 0. But there are also reviews that are somehow negative as well. The ChatGPT explains this for us. From the histogram, we can see that the majority of reviews have a positive sentiment as the polarity score is greater than 0. There are also a good number of neutral reviews, polarity close to 0, and a small number of negative reviews, polarity less than 0. This concludes the sentiment analysis of Disneyland reviews. You can access the complete analysis in the notebook. But as we remember, we had more data in our dataset. So we can right now go more in depth in terms of using sentiment on these locations, countries, and branches. So I'm going to write a prompt. Can you write any other codes that can visualize the results for me? For example, include other columns such as countries, scores, branches, sentiment, and so on. I'm gonna send this. The Noteable plugin is starting to work once again. All right, and we got more results. So here's the first visual, number of reviews from each country, top 10. So we have the number of reviews on the y-axis, and then on the x-axis, we have the countries. So we can see that most of the reviews are actually from United States. We also have number of reviews for each branch. And then we have polarity scores. This takes the sentiment on the y-axis, and then on the x-axis it put the branch, and then ChatGPT gives us the summary of these visuals. The majority of reviews are from the United States, followed by Australia, United Kingdom, Canada, and India. Disneyland California has the most reviews, followed by Disneyland Hong Kong and Disneyland Paris. The sentiment scores for each branch are mostly positive, indicating that the reviews are generally positive for all branches. Now we can also write something like this. Can you produce a box plot with ratings versus sentiment? We are going to send this, and just like that we got the results. Here's a box plot showing the polarity scores for each rating. From the box plot, we can see that reviews with higher ratings generally have higher polarity scores, indicating more positive sentiment, which makes sense, right? Because we have stars on the x-axis, and with higher stars, we would expect that there is going to be a better sentiment. Reviews with lower ratings have a wider range of polarity scores, with some reviews having negative sentiment, polarity score less than 0. Here what it is saying is that you can see that, for example, for the stars with 1 and 2, we can see that part of the box is actually below 0 as well. So that says that some of the reviews are having a negative sentiment. Another tip, if you don't understand the box plots, how they work and what it means, is that you can just simply ask ChatGPT to explain it like you are a kid or like you are 5 years old. The box is like a container that holds the middle half of your friend's happiness scores. The bottom of the box is the score that's higher than the lowest 25% of the scores. This is called the 25th percentile, and the top of the box is the score that's higher than the lowest 75% of the score. This is called the 75th percentile. So the box contains the middle 50% of all the happiness scores. The line in the middle of the box is the median happiness score. This is a score that's right in the middle when you line up all the scores from lowest to highest. Half of your friends rated their happiness higher than this score and half of them rated it lower. The whiskers, or like antennas reaching out from the box, they show the range of scores that are not too much higher or lower than the scores in the box. Any score that is more than 1.5 times the box height away from the box is considered too extreme and is not included in the whiskers. The dots outside of the whiskers are the outliers. These are the scores that are much higher or lower than the most of the scores. They are like the very special scores that don't fit in with the rest. The box is basically the 50% of your reviews are within this range. If you go from the start of the box down, you can see that 25% of all reviews are lower than this sentiment, which in this case is around 0.1. You have the outliers, which are the dots, and then you also have the lines in the middle of the box. The middle of the box is the median. Basically, medians are preferred if you are using data that contain outliers. So then the extreme values are not pulling the average up or down. We are using something called median. You can think about median in this case the same way as an average. And then we have the antennas. We are using the rule 1.5 times. So from the box, we go 1.5 times up and then we go 1.5 times down to include a little bit more data in this range. So then anything outside this is going to be considered an outlier. Alright, if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, hit the like button down below. If you are interested in tech and AI, definitely subscribe down below. I post every single week. Thank you so much and have a great day.